You ever have someone use "we're family" as an excuse to take advantage of you? Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I own a small bakery. It's my pride, my baby, my everything. But when my sister asked me to make her wedding cake for free and called me greedy when I refused, she learned the hard way that even sugar can have a bite. If you've ever been called greedy just for knowing your worth, hit that subscribe button. Like this video and get ready, because this story, it's the sweetest slice of revenge you'll ever taste. It all started a few weeks ago when my sister, Emily, called me out of the blue. Hey, sis! So I have the perfect idea for my wedding cake. I was thrilled. I mean, she's my sister. Of course, I want to be part of her big day. She sent me photos. A 5-tier masterpiece covered in hand-piped sugar lace, edible pearls, and cascading fondant flowers. It looked like something out of a royal wedding magazine. I smiled and said, "That's gorgeous, Em. I can definitely do that. Just send me your colors and guest count, and I'll get you a quote." Then she said it. "Oh, no. I meant, like you'll do it as a gift, right?" I froze for a second, my phone halfway between my ear and shoulder. I thought she was joking, but her tone wasn't playful. It was expectant. Entitled. I laughed nervously. "Wet, you mean for free?" "Of course," she said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "You're my sister. Family helps family." That phrase, that cursed phrase. Family helps family. Every small business owner knows it. The guilt trip disguised as love. I took a deep breath and explained gently, that cake is huge. The ingredients alone are over $500. It takes me 3 full days to make something like that. I can give you a big discount, just enough to cover the materials and pay my assistant. I'll even skip charging for my time." But she didn't even let me finish. "Wow," she snapped. "You've really changed. You only care about money now. What happened to you?" I blinked, speechless. I could feel the heat rising in my chest. "Emily, that's not fair." But she hung up. An hour later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a group chat. My mom, my aunt, and of course Emily. Mom had joined in. "Sweetheart," Mom texted, "it's your sister's wedding. Don't be so business-minded. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event. You can't just think about profit." Profit. It wasn't about profit. It was about respect. But explaining that to them felt pointless. I typed a long response and deleted it. Then I wrote, "I love you both, but I can't afford to do this for free." Emily responded instantly, "Forget it. I'll find someone who actually cares about me." That one stung. Days passed, and I tried to move on. I buried myself in work. But the bitterness stuck like icing on a whisk. My own family saw me as cheap labor, not a professional. Then, 2 weeks later, I got a call from one of my regular suppliers, a small catering company I often collaborate with. "Hey, are you doing Emily's wedding cake?" he asked. I frowned. "No, she found someone else." "Why?" He chuckled awkwardly. "She placed a bulk order for decorations and ingredients under your business account." I nearly dropped my phone. Apparently, Emily had told him she was picking up supplies for me, and since they knew we were related, they didn't question it. She tried to use my business credit to buy her wedding cake ingredients. $500 worth. That's when something inside me snapped. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was done. So I called the supplier, explained everything, and thankfully he canceled the order. Then I sat down, brewed a cup of coffee, and came up with a plan. A plan that would teach Emily, and maybe my entire family, that kindness isn't the same as free labor. A few days later, Emily texted me again. Her tone had shifted completely. "Hey sis, so the baker we hired just backed out. Total nightmare. I know we've had our differences, but could you please help? I'll even pay you something small, like maybe 100. I almost laughed out loud. 100. For 3 days of work and 500s in ingredients. But instead of refusing right away, I decided to play along. "Sure." I texted back. "Let's meet tomorrow and go over the design." When we met, she looked stressed, eyes puffy, hands fidgeting. For a brief second, I felt bad for her. Then she opened her mouth. "So you'll still do it for free, right? Since you already have everything?" Unbelievable. She hadn't changed at all. I smiled. "Don't worry, Emily. I'll take care of everything." And oh, I did. Over the next week, I made the most stunning wedding cake anyone could imagine. On the outside, smooth fondant, perfect piping, golden sugar pearls. It was breathtaking. But here's the thing. Remember how she accused me of being greedy, of only caring about money? Well, let's just say I made sure she got exactly what she paid for. I didn't use fresh cream or imported chocolate or delicate sugar flowers like she wanted. Nope, I used the cheapest, blandest store brand ingredients. I swapped real vanilla for artificial extract, high-quality butter for margarine, and filled the layers with a dull, overly sweet frosting that could rot a tooth just by looking at it. It wasn't inedible. I'm not evil. But it was mediocre, plain, forgettable. On the outside, it was a showstopper. On the inside, it was cardboard with frosting. When the big day arrived, I showed up early to deliver it. My mom gushed when she saw it. "Oh my goodness, it's perfect. See, I told you she'd come around." Emily looked smug, arms crossed, clearly thinking she'd won. But I noticed something else. On the dessert table next to the cake was a little printed sign that said, "Wedding Cake by Emily's sister, Sugar Bell Bakery." My business name, my brand. She was taking credit and using my business to look good in front of her guests. That was the cherry on top. The reception went beautifully until dessert time. I stood back pretending to mingle as the cake was cut. Guests oohed and ate at the design. Cameras flashed. Emily smiled proudly. Then the first bites. It started small. One bridesmaid frowned. Then another guest whispered something. Soon, people were politely pushing their plates away, forcing smiles. A few kids outright refused to eat more. "Is it supposed to taste like this?" someone whispered near me. Emily's smile faltered. She took a bite herself, and her face froze. I'll never forget that moment, her expression twisting between confusion, disappointment, and embarrassment as she tried to pretend everything was fine. Mom leaned over and whispered, "Honey, maybe the fridge was too cold." I just shrugged. Could be the best part. Half an hour later, a few guests asked for my bakery's card, and Emily had to awkwardly explain that I was too busy to make the real cake, and someone else must have messed it up. Poetic justice. After the wedding, she didn't call me for weeks. Eventually, Mom told me Emily was still upset that I didn't go all out for her. I just smiled, because for once, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. Running a small business isn't easy. You spend years proving your worth, fighting the assumption that your passion is just a hobby. And sometimes, the hardest part isn't the customers, it's the people closest to you who think your work should come cheap. But the truth is, respect and love aren't proven by how much you give away. They're proven by how much people value your time, your effort, and your boundaries. My revenge wasn't about ruining her wedding. It was about taking back my self-respect, one slice of bland vanilla cake at a time. So yeah, maybe I'm the greedy sister. But at least now, everyone knows one thing for sure, family or not, you don't mess with the baker. And I'll tell you what, business has never been better. People at that wedding ended up visiting my bakery later, curious to taste what my real cakes were like. When they realized how amazing the real thing was, they became loyal customers. So in the end, Emily's little stunt actually became the best marketing campaign I never paid for. Funny how karma works, huh? Sometimes it doesn't need to shout. It just needs to serve cold, bland, and covered in fondant. Too cool. If you've ever been tripped into giving away your hard work, drop a "not the baker's fault" in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe for more stories of justice served, and remember, standing up for yourself isn't greed, it's self-respect. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next story, where karma's always on the menu.